So what is the connection between whales, dolphins and sharks? Well, they all share the same ocean, all the same hazards, but there is now another hazard: humans.
We believe that the continued use of the shark nets in the Sydney region is due to the fact that they've been there since the 1930s. And because people believe that these nets cover the entire ocean, headland to headland, it gives people a false sense of security. If those people knew that they're in fact much smaller than that and don't go all the way to the bottom and all the way to the surface, I think people would have a very different idea and would understand that they don't actually exclude sharks from the area.
Living Ocean's whale research team has shared concerns with the Humane Society about shark nets, as they are a direct threat to humpback whales. Despite this knowledge, shark nets were laid at the start of the southern migration of humpback mothers and calves. As a result of this, Thursday 2 weeks ago, we witnessed entanglement and the drowning of a juvenile humpback in the shark net at Avalon. Its body drifted later to Longreef, then back to Narrabeen. The irony here is that a dead whale in the nets actually attracts sharks.
So we know that this is entirely unnecessary, as Living Ocean has been studying humpbacks for the last 10 years.
Our research data confirms that mothers and calves track very close to the shoreline during southern migration. You can see here the path that a humpback whale swam, laid over the underwater 3D terrain.
So if our data confirms that southern migrating humpback mothers and calves swim close to the coast, why do we place shark nets directly in their path? Is there an alternative?
Well, there are two solutions to the shark nets and drumlines on Sydney beaches. The first solution is what is already being proven and implemented elsewhere, which is personal shark deterrence for surfing and diving, so taking personal responsibility to remove the risk. The second solution we're actively working on right now, which is electromagnetic shark deterrents that are much longer range, up to 100 metres in diameter, and use that technology to completely replace the shark nets altogether, building a definitive barrier across the beaches where we feel we need it.
Something wonderful happened recently at Palm Beach involving humpback whales and dolphins.
I was over at the boathouse and received a phone call from a mate of mine who was working up on Ocean Road, and he said that there was 2 humpback whales on the beachfront, 20 metres off the beach, and they were thrashing about all over the place, and he thought they were caught in the shark nets. So I raced over and got to bend in the road, and I could see them in the off the beach with a gigantic pod of dolphins. The pod of dolphins were all sort of racing around and playing with the calf and the mother, and I determined this sort of after I'd actually sent the drone up. So I sent the drone up to actually get a close look and see if they were entangled in the shark net. But what I saw was that the mother and baby were basically playing around with the dolphins. So when you head south, you're heading straight towards the actual position of the shark nets at South Palm Beach, which is a very small area, but they seem to be heading straight for the shark nets.
But the calf's staying pretty close to mum, a young calf, this year's calf, and just sort of probably resting in the shallows while it's nice and calm and quiet in there.
There's a dolphin approaching there now.
Yeah, I mean, it has been seen on occasion with dolphins playing. I've seen them playing with, and there's looks like a marker buoy or a crab pot or something there. But we are aware that the shark nets are out here off Palm Beach. Oh, there they are. See, now the bottlenose dolphins there are playing. The baby looks like it's probably a little bit nervous. But there's no real sign of aggression. But you can see the mother keeping between the dolphins and the baby. Oh no, there she goes. Rolling over the top of the mum. Oh, that's really cute. These guys, I mean, they're certainly coming in to interact. I mean, it's it often happens where even though they're two different species and they have a different social structure and vocal structure, that they do sometimes are seen to interact. So yeah, so there's the mother and calf heading off. Looks like reasonably quickly towards the southern point. Quite quickly, you can see them. I wonder what triggered them.
So they've left the dolphins well behind.
Well behind, and you can see the movement of them, and you can see their flukes heading off quite quickly. Whether they were spooked or something.
What we saw was it was as if they had decided, let's move off.
Mm-hmm.
So
the whales.
Yeah, so what you can see is the mother and the calf, they head off and they
quite quickly.
Yeah, and they pick up speed. So they're off, they're on their way. Okay, so then what we saw was the four which look like the mature dolphins, like the leaders of the pack, come out and follow them out and then head them off. And there was looked like a bit of dialogue, literally face to face, as if to say, no, don't go this way, come back. So they turned around, they did a bit of whatever where they were, came back to the beach, and then with the dolphins moved all the way to the north, and then
the dolphins turned them around away from the net.
Yeah, so that's what it looks like, turned them around and headed off north. So basically
away from the net, literally kind of herded them. The big guys split from the others.
Yeah, see, even looking at that, these are the dominant animals. Yeah. I don't think they'd be the boys unless it's a little boy group, like a bachelor pod.
So, if you're looking at the drone track across the aerial image of Palm Beach, you can see that from Bend in the Road, the drone actually is rotating around, but it's heading off in a southeast direction and directly towards the shark nets. But there's a point where they actually got turned around, and then you can see that there's a line or a track that starts going off to the north. That was the direction that the whales were changed. They basically did a 90-degree left turn, and then the drone came back in because I'd run out of battery. I put another battery in and then came straight back out, and you can see they're actually heading off to the north in the other track. And then I've run out of battery and come back to the Bend in the Road location. So it's funny to actually sort of say this, but it was like the dolphins were communicating with the whales. Now, obviously, when you're underwater, you can actually physically, with human ears, you can hear the whales and you can hear the dolphins if you're in close proximity. All the clicking and the sort of like breathing of the whale underwater. But to me, it actually appears that even though they're both intelligent mammals, that it'd be like dogs talking to cats, or humans talking to cats or dogs. There's some degree of understanding for different things, but I believe that the dolphins did actually come out and sort of distract the whales, because they totally turned their track away from the direction they were going and made them head off back up to the north.
We search for life in the universe while we still don't understand the life that's around us. It's in the oceans, and we still don't fully understand the creatures that live there. Do they talk to each other? Well, yes, we know they do. Do they communicate? Well, yes, we know they do. Do we know what they're saying? No, we don't. So it's our responsibility as the dominant and supposedly most evolved species on the planet to protect and conserve all the life that surrounds us. The way we interface with whales, dolphins, sharks, seals, and all the life in the ocean. So let's make sure we get it right.